Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Knessa coming to you from the home studio today on this, the second day of January in the year 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you're all enjoying your day today, this Monday, the day New Year's Day is observed in the United States, and can you believe it's 2023 already? And you'll forgive me, I got it right today, but I'm sure I'm going to say 2022 a lot in the first couple of weeks of the year, so eventually we'll get used to the whole 2023 business. But we start off the year as we do every Monday. We start off with me coming into your homes, and I thank you for that, to bring you this week's newspaper. And as you can see from the front cover, it, of course, says Happy New Year, generic greeting. But the main story this week is the top 10 stories that were read on theobserver.com in the year 2022. We had unprecedented growth this year on our website, which began in 1996 when Tony Tortoretti bought theobserver.com. Well ahead of his time was Tony for technology. And we had just an incredible year this year of viewership, not just from this area, too. I mean, we have people who come from all over the state of New Jersey, from New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, all over the country, and different parts of the globe, too. Expats who no longer live here, but who keep up with the news here. And that is one of the greatest things that I've enjoyed about the last year, and one of the greatest successes we had in 2022, getting to see this traffic basically double from the year 2021. We truly have had unprecedented growth. So the top 10 stories of the year are counted down by views. And the number one story of 2022, but I'm not going to tell you what it is actually now the most read story since we began tracking data using Google Analytics on this website. And I can't remember exactly what year that was, but it is certainly the most read story in the history of our website. So I hope you get a chance to check out those top 10 stories that I've recapped for you in this week's edition. We also have two other stories on the front page this week. As 2022 ends, I think most of you are aware by now that Kearney EMS has folded. And at a meeting of the mayor and council on, I believe, the 29th of December, they voted 7-0 with Mayor Santos and former Councilwoman Sue McCurry being absent, to award a contract to Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health, to handle their new ambulance services. And the contract comes in at $0 for the entire year, but this is only going to be a 90-day contract. The reason they're doing this, I think, is that they really didn't have much time to solicit bids, so I'm sure they're going to go out to bid again or see how Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas does in the first 90 days. There are some things to be a little bit weary about with a $0 contract. I really don't think the town is going to have any say on any billing issues. I think you have to be very, very cautious of that. And as a private company, they can bill whatever they want for a ride to, let's just say, Clara Moss. Now, what happens if you say, I want to go to St. Michael's Medical Center, which is not affiliated with Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health? Is that a more expensive ride? Will they even do it? So there's a lot of questions still to be answered here. But the bottom line is that at the stroke of midnight, January 1st, RWJ Barnabas Health took over the ambulance service, and Kearney EMS is no more. So there is something in place for at least the next 90 days, and we will follow up on this story as things continue to move along. Also on the front page this week, Richard Jarvis is the chief of the Lyndhurst Police Department. And on Christmas Eve, he was at the right place in the right time. I still can't figure out whether he was on duty at the time. But a call came through about an unresponsive man in a bathroom, and Jarvis was the first one on scene because he was the closest to the location. And he went in and he saved a man who was attempting to kill himself. It was remarkable. He saved this man's life. Apparently he had a belt around his neck and may have been hanging from it, but he cut the belt off and was able to revive the man who who is undergoing psychiatric evaluation now. But well done, Rich Jarvis, on being able to save this man's life on Christmas Eve. What a sad situation that had to be, though, on Christmas Eve for the victim, the person who was involved. So congratulations to the chief on a fantastic save. As we move inside, a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to visit Garfield School in Kearney, and Jack Grimm and Vanessa Sevillano, two of the COP officers, gave a presentation on the dangers of being underage and using drugs, drinking alcohol, and looking to join a gang. And it was a very, very stark, blunt presentation from Jack and Vanessa. The kids listened with incredible attention and really paid mind to a lot of what they were talking about. What was perhaps stunning was what they actually knew. These kids know so much already when it comes to things like drinking and marijuana. I guess they've been exposed to it at such a young age of 11 and 12 in the 6th grade, but it was a tremendous, tremendous presentation by Jack and Vanessa that they do, I believe, normally for 5th graders, but because of COVID, this group of kids wasn't able to get it last year, so they got it this year. And the COP unit, which was disbanded during COVID for obvious reasons, is back and up and running under Sergeant Adriano Marks with Jack and Vanessa. And I am drawing a blank because I know that there's one more person in the unit, and I should know who it is, but I'm just drawing a blank on it. But I'll get back to you on that at some point. But a phenomenal presentation. And if you have a 6th grader in the Kearney school system, they will have heard it already this year. And if you have kids who are younger, they will eventually get to hear it. Now, since I'm home and he sleeps all day long, now that I decided to record today's video, my cat is going to meow as loudly as he possibly can to let us all know he's here. So I apologize to you for that right in advance. Sticking in Lyndhurst, this is a sickening story. And you guys may remember a story about a year and a half ago that the monument to 9/11 in the township of Lyndhurst was vandalized by a man. And he was arrested, and I don't know what the adjudication of the case was, but this same man was arrested again. But this time, it was a lot worse. He was involved in a very bad situation at the Valley Brook Avenue Dunkin' Donuts. His last name is Acevedo. His name is of very little consequence here, but apparently he was in the Dunkin' Donuts and left and then came back and beat up a member of the staff from the Dunkin' and really, really did some serious damage. Sadly, the person who worked at Dunkin' Donuts already had lost vision in one of his eyes. And Vinny Ottieri, the PIO of the Lyndhurst Police Department, tells me it's very possible now that he may lose vision in his other eye as well. So this guy has been known to hang out at the Dunkin' Donuts in Lyndhurst on Valley Brook Avenue. He's a vagrant in dire need of mental help. I believe he's got it, but he's also behind bars now as well, because this one was way too serious for just treat and release. So we'll see what happens with this. I'll keep a close eye on it, but a terrible, terrible situation where this clerk may lose sight in his other eye, having already lost vision in one eye. As if that wasn't bad enough, now he's going to lose vision, perhaps, in his other eye. If we get an update to this, I will certainly let you know. A few weeks ago, we brought to you the story about how people were saying there were shots fired at Marshall's in Kearney. This, of course, wasn't the case at all. The actual story of what happened there is on page number 3. Ron Lear has a story because the township of Belleville is beginning its lead water line replacement. All townships in the state have to do so within the next, I want to say 10 years. It may be 9 now. So Belleville is ready to get going on that. So there will be a lot of work happening in Belleville over the coming months. So check that out when you get a chance. Residents of Nutley got letters explaining the township's revaluation, and there was a lot of panic being caused. So Commissioner Thomas Evans sent out a letter to notify people that while it looks like sticker shock, that people shouldn't be as alarmed because a lot of the numbers they were saying were based on a higher tax rate for 2022, and in 2023 that tax rate is going to drop, and in some cases significantly. So take a look at that if you're a Nutley resident. Don't get too panicked over what you saw, and they have plenty of ways to get in touch with the commissioner's office if you wish to speak with him or if you have any questions about what's going on with your revaluation in Nutley if you're a homeowner. We also have this photo here of the FMBA and the PBA. They were involved, of course, in the annual toy drive for the Giving Tree that Councilwoman Carol Jean Doyle does. And members collected items. They also brought them to the Elks where they were sorted and then were part of the delivery process to many, many children and teenagers and families that otherwise wouldn't have had a good Christmas. So I hope you'll look at that. And one wonderful job, as usual, by Mina Claudius and also by Juan Barroso of the PBA and FMBA, respectively. This week's commentary editorial that I wrote is my annual predictions for what may happen in the local area. They're meant to be taken with a grain of salt, not seriously, or maybe somewhat seriously, but it's all in good fun. So if you're one of the people I picked on, it's because I like you, and I hope you enjoy those as well. This is a great story. This is Michael Fernandez at the center of the picture here, too. And Mr. Fernandez's dad is Mike, and his mother is Josie Milan Fernandez. Mike owns the Spanish Pavilion in Harrison. Young Michael, whose name is spelled differently than his dad's, is getting a full scholarship, a Navy ROTC scholarship for when he graduates from High Tech High School at the end of this year. And that's a big, big deal, man. It's not easy to get them, and it's a full ride. So congratulations to Michael on his phenomenal accomplishment, and to his parents, Josie and Mike, for that great accomplishment and feat that their young one pulled off. This is Tim Wagner's police blotter. Caused a lot of consternation on social media because there were 3 different incidents of 3 Kearney High School kids being arrested in the last few weeks. I want this to be very, very clear, and I think it's important to note, and I made a note in the story as well, that not one of these incidents took place while on campus. They were all off campus. The reason the arrests happen at the high school is because that's where a kid is during the day. So when you have to make an arrest, you have to go to the school and make it there, obviously. But not one of these 3 incidents took place on campus. There's a lot of good stuff going on at Kearney High School, folks. There really is. Jackie Richardson has done a great job there. And I feared that this might kind of tarnish that a little bit, but it's not meant to do that. It's the simple reality that 3 Kearney High kids were arrested, okay? But keep it in mind, none of the incidents happened there. And that is very important to note, that there wasn't any kind of violence going on during the school day. But some of these incidents, nonetheless, are extremely, extremely disturbing, especially the first one. So I encourage you to read that at your earliest opportunity. This is a feel-good story because Watco has been a place that has been nomadic in its own way over the last couple of years, but I think they finally have a permanent home now at Holy Cross School, the former Holy Cross School in Harrison. And they recently, I believe, signed a contract with the Archdiocese of Newark, who will have a new home and access to a real stage, and they'll be able to keep their equipment there. They won't have to transport it from one place to the other. There's parking across the street. So this is good news for the folks over at Watt. And I'm very, very, very happy for Brandy Lee Miller, the president, as she continues to move things along after the retirement of Jerry Facito. But this is a good thing for Watt, that they will have a location that's centrally located where there's parking and where people will remember very easily where to go. Jason Bernstein has 2 sports stories this week, including the first athlete of the week for the year 2023. Let me go back because I went a little too fast. You may have seen a video that I did last week. This man was responsible, says the Kearney Police Department, for a carjacking in February 2022 at the ShopRite parking lot. Police are trying to find him. Now, as usual, social media comes through with this, and people were saying, well, where was he? Like, why is it taking so long? In a case like this, it takes time to develop a suspect, and the police department exhausted every other means of trying to find this guy. And the last resort is to make a plea to the public. So this is not untraditional by any means. This is not a sign that they're slacking or anything. It's a sign that they've tried every other way to find the guy, haven't been able to, and now are appealing to the public. This is not whatsoever, should not be read, although it was by a lot of people, as an indictment on the Detective Bureau. Jordy Jean has worked his butt off to get this case solved, and I'm sure he will, hopefully with the help of people who are reading this newspaper here today. Of course, we have 2 pages of classifieds and word that our office will reopen to the public. We, believe it or not, been closed to the public. You may not have even realized it, but we'll be open till 3 o'clock every day now from 10 a.m., so from 10 to 3. Pop by the office. We like to have visitors. We haven't had many visitors lately, and that used to be like Grand Central when people would come by and visit just to say hello. So the office will be open from 10 until 3, Monday through Friday of each and every week, and we hope you will join us. Just come by and say hello. And that's it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. I'm home today. Maybe, I don't know, some of you worked today, some didn't, but hope you had a great day today. Hope the rest of the day is great. And I will join you 1 week from tonight. And, of course, if anything breaks during the course of the week, I will join you ahead of time with that information. So from the home studio tonight, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now. And I hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Good night and enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.